Hello, I'm Daniel Summer, Public Affairs Specialist with the Social Security Administration, and I'm here to help sharpen your skills. What skills am I talking about? Your Social Security skills. I want today to tell you about our programs and services, give you a general overview, and tell you all the things you need to know. In fact, I want you to know enough to be dangerous. That's right, dangerous. And speaking of danger, I'm going to ask for the first slide to be put up because I want to warn you about a little danger. This is a picture from a while back, March of 2023, when we did our Slam the Scam. Government imposters are everywhere, and I want you to know about them. Thank you for that slide. The fact is, you're going to get those phone calls. I get the phone calls. People are impersonating Social Security all the time. They'll tell you that they are with Social Security and that you are in some sort of trouble. You'll lose your benefits. They'll even switch tactics and say, well, we can give you an additional amount for COVID or for your rent or something. But Social Security doesn't do those things. Hang up on them because they're not telling you the truth. This is a real danger because we know that your Social Security number is very important. How important is it? Well, the original intent of your number was to keep track of your wages. That's what we did with it. Of course, nowadays, everything is kept through your Social Security number. Medical records, bank records, information, tons of things, your history with your education. So that cat is out of the bag. We can't put that genie back in the bottle. We can't hide your Social Security number, but you can do a lot to protect yourself, such as not giving it out to strangers. And I understand that sometimes you get a call and you might wonder, is that the Social Security Administration? They've called me while I was in the Social Security office pretending to be the Social Security Administration. Today's information and objective comes from the idea that I got another letter, and it dealt with some of that identity theft and fraud. It can do a lot of damage, cost you a lot of money, heartbreak, grief, and difficulty. There are people who have criminal records who would love to use your Social Security number instead of theirs, and guess what? It can happen. There are people who open lines of credit with other people's numbers and information and leave them holding the bag for bills. There are so many situations. So I'm asking you, don't carry your Social Security card with you, and certainly don't give it out indiscriminate. So let's understand what we're going to do today about your Social Security skills. You know, the best way to understand Social Security is to know a little bit about its history. So I'm going to give you a really brief history lesson. Next slide, please. You know, Social Security came about during the 1930s. In fact, 1935 was the Social Security Act. What was going on in this country at that time? Well, that was the Great Depression. Were there jobs? No. Minimum wage? No. Workers' compensation? People who got injured on the job will pass away in poverty quite often. So, Social Security was born. Now, pensions wouldn't even be widely available for about 20 years for most Americans. So what are you going to do in a time of economic downturn? Well, when we have people who are elderly or disabled, who are unable to work or find work to support themselves, what could they do? Well, I'm going to tell you that Social Security came through like the cavalry, and we came up with something called RSDI. What do those letters stand for? Retirement, Survivors, Disability, Insurance. But it didn't all come about at once. In fact, Social Security has evolved a lot over the years. You know, when we began these benefits, it was the R, retirement. And people would pay into Social Security, and it's brilliant in its concept because the employer would have to match what you paid into Social Security. This still is true today. Once that happened, you were generating and coming up with a benefit in the event that you became disabled or when it was time for you to retire. So the R in Retirement Survivors Disability Insurance was born. Now, we've undergone a lot of changes. For instance, in 1939, women were eligible to get spousal benefits. Notice, I didn't say that men were, because spousal benefits were only for wives at that time. Later on, during the 1930s, 40s, survivors' benefits were born. And now people who had a spouse who passed away or a parent who passed away were not left destitute. Things continued rolling on. In the 1950s, finally men were able to get benefits as spouses, and all up through the 1970s when our Supplemental Security Income Program was created to help low-income individuals who became disabled arrived. So let's go to that next slide. This is a big program, and I want you to know all about it. Now, when we say this is a big program, the 2020 census says in the United States that there were 331,449,281 Americans. Wow. But this next bullet point is pretty important. 97% of adults aged 60 to 89 either receive or will receive Social Security benefits. Imagine that, 97% of them. And of course, the average Social Security check is $1,705.79 as of August 2023. Imagine individuals who didn't have more than $1,700 taken away from them. What would happen? Well, poverty in this country would increase. 21 million Americans would suddenly be below the poverty line. So this is not only a big program, it's an important program. On to the next slide, please. Now, when we talk about how many people are getting Social Security, just take a look. We're looking at 58.5 million. And then our other programs, SSI, 5.5 million people depend on those benefits. Of course, some people get both, and I really want you to understand that this is a lifeline to our seniors, our disabled individuals, those who have disabilities or who retire or both. Their entire families can be supported. When people pass away, their survivors are not left without income. Onward to the next slide. So now you know how important this program is. Now I'm going to tell you about some false facts. And where did I get the idea of a false fact? I've seen a lot of information, especially through this last letter that I received, about individuals who are giving information about Social Security, but they don't seem to know it very well. And they even tout their expertise. But unfortunately, some of that is bad info. Now, that slide that was just up is what I want to go to now, because it's some information that I hear all the time. Everyone should wait until age 70 to file for their retirement or survivor's benefit. That's not the case. The truth is, I've run across financial advisors and people who say they're experts who say that. The last person I spoke to who told me this, I explained to them that I've taken thousands and thousands of applications. I've been at Social Security for the better part of 20 years, and I've had an individual walk in and say to me, I'm 62 and I want to retire. My situation is this. My mother passed away at 59, my father passed away at 63, my brothers and sisters, we all have congenital heart failure, and none of them made to 64. So guess what? There are lots of reasons why people might not want to wait until 70. Social Security does not tell you to wait until 70 or don't. We merely lay out your options, and here's an important thing about that. It's easy for me to sit up in a nice suit with the Chicago background to say, wait until 70. But what about that steel worker who's doing shift work on midnights? He may not want to be there till 70. Some people have their homes paid off, or their spouse may have a work or a pension. They may just want to play with their grandchildren. Some people need just a certain amount of income, and there's no percentage in them working. Some other people might need to wait till their full retirement age or beyond, yes, even to 70. But remember that everyone needs to do this 70 thing is poor advice. It's not well thought out. You're an individual. Your family is different. You have an individual life, and we want you to think about what you're going to do next. So that was false fact number 5, and I'm doing a countdown. So let's go to false fact number 4. A fake fact here. Social Security looks at the last 10 years of your work history to determine your benefit. Oh, do you want to know where I got this false fact from? The place where I got this false fact was a Social Security expert's website. This is a person who goes everywhere. They're on radio, they're writing books, and they're telling people that the Social Security Administration looks at the last 10 years of your work, and that's how we come up with your benefit amount. And that is wrong, wrong, wrong. Social Security looks at the highest 35 years of your earnings, but it doesn't just look at the numbers. We inflate them to today's dollars because maybe that $10,000 you made in 1980 doesn't go as far in 2023. So Social Security looks much beyond the last 10 years of your work. But understand, when you have a financial advisor, they probably understand so much more about IRAs, etc., than I do. But Social Security is our thing. You want to ask Social Security for backup on anything you discuss. Onward. False fact number 3 is what I want to move on to, and here it is. Social Security will tell you the best time to file for your retirement, so you must be careful not to get wrong advice from Social Security. Here we go again, folks. Social Security simply doesn't give you advice. We lay out the facts as to what is it that you can get at what age. At 62, you'll get this amount. The next month or two, you'll get that. At 63, at 64, and so on, all the way to 70. There's no magic. There's no Social Security secrets that people tout. They want to sell their books. They want to have you come over for a chicken dinner and then collect a fee or something. But Social Security will tell you every single fact so you can make an informed decision. We want you to do what's best for you. And for some people, that will be 70. For others, they might retire at 62 or anywhere in between. But remember, we're here for you, not just for that chicken dinner, not there for the fee that you may pay for the book. But you've paid your taxes and we work for you. Onward, I think we're at false fact number 2. Aha, you are much more likely to get your disability case approved if you hire an attorney when first filing your disability claim. You know, that's one of the things that I hear promoted a lot, and people believe that. But I'm going to give you what might actually be considered a secret. It's an open secret, though, because Social Security tells you on our website, ssa.gov, the truth. Guess how many claims are approved for disability when an individual files without an attorney? The answer? About 33%. Guess how many claims and what percentage of claims are approved when you file with an attorney? 33%. So you see, at an initial claim stage, what happens is you file an application for benefits. You tell us about your disabling condition. You tell us about your illness, injuries, conditions, the medications, the kind of work you've done, and your education. Once we have all that information, we send it to the Disability Determination Service. Those are the medical professionals who will look at the information, send off for your medical records, of course, with your signed consent, and then ultimately get them back, review them, maybe send you to a doctor, and decide this individual is disabled by Social Security standards or they are not. If you are not, then guess what? You still have the right to appeal. So I want people to understand, when you hire an attorney, Social Security has no opinion, positive or negative, about that. But once you sign with an attorney, he may be entitled to thousands of dollars of past due benefits which would otherwise go to you. So obviously, everyone has an interest in making sure that perhaps you should hire me if I were that attorney. So there's nothing wrong with getting representation if you feel uncomfortable in filing your own application. But understand that it comes at a price. Time for another false fact. Aha! False fact number one, and this one's number one because I hear it so often. Social Security wants you to file earlier because you get less money, and therefore Social Security saves money when you do this. Actually, this is a really, really bad untruth, and it's the falsest of the false facts. You know why? Because when you're deciding to file at 62 versus, say, your full retirement age, if you were full retirement age at 66 and you were going to receive $1,000 per month, the same person would receive, let's just say, $700 at 62. You are making a decision, so we don't want you to do one or the other. You are saying, in essence, I am choosing to take a lower benefit over a longer period of time because the person who files at 66 doesn't get a check all through the time when they're 62, 63, 64, or 65. You're either deciding to do that, take a lower benefit over a longer period of time, or you're deciding to take a higher benefit at 66, that $1,000, over a shorter period of time. Because unfortunately, as beautiful as the skyline is here in Chicago, at some point we all have to leave, even a great city like Chicago. So understand, the math actually works out differently than this. In fact, actuarially, you get about the same amount of money if you file at 62 versus your full retirement age. The interesting thing is, there is a slight amount that the person gets more before they leave us. And guess which option it is? The person who files at age 62. Interestingly enough, we at Social Security understand that you want to understand what it is you're doing, and we're here for you. I encourage you to set up an account at ssa.gov. If you do that, you'll be able to look at the numbers yourself and do whatever mathematical calculations you want with regard to your retirement. I encourage everyone to do that because you'll know not only what you'll get if you were to become disabled today, you would know if your family would be entitled to a benefit. If someone passes away, what you would leave your survivors, your surviving spouse or children, or even ex-spouses. I want you to get the right information, not be deluged with false facts. I want you to know when you walk into a Social Security office that you understand a lot more about it. So just keep upgrading and sharpening your skills. I'm Daniel Sommer, Public Affairs Specialist for the Chicagoland metropolitan area, right here downtown and Northwest Indiana. I'll be back the next time, and we'll be back with more ways to sharpen your Social Security skills.
Hi, that was good, but you do have 5 more minutes left. Can you go for a little bit longer?
Sure. How are we going to do this part of it, though? Are you going to just like cut it out and back in, or what?
Yeah, they'll be able to fix it and post it back in.
Okay, they're good. All right, they're great. Tell me when.
Yeah, it has to be at least 25 minutes.
I can do it.
Alrighty, okay, you can start now.
One of the best ways to sharpen your skills that I haven't mentioned yet is to get our literature. Now, if you've ever been in a Social Security office, you've seen pamphlets like this. This is a retirement pamphlet. It will tell you everything you need to know about what your full retirement age is, how much you can make if you apply before your full retirement age, what your spouse would be entitled to. Lots of goodies here. This is the green pamphlet retirement. But you don't have to even go into the office to get our pamphlets. As wonderful as our pamphlets are, you can get them online. And once again, that's at www.ssa.gov. That's the Social Security Administration. Now, I'm going to tell you that I'm partial to some of our pamphlets. I really like this one. It's What Every Woman Should Know. Seems weird, right? But this is such a well-written pamphlet. It describes not just the retirement benefits, but other things of special importance to women. Why? Well, women live longer than men, right? So they're often the survivors. They're often the caretakers of children. They're often the representative payees who help people who are getting benefits to manage them correctly and properly. So I want you to think about this, because spouses often draw benefits from each other, and women more often draw benefits from men. It happens the other way around too, but What Every Woman Should Know is probably something that you should have if you're a woman and you want to understand Social Security. It's a great overview. We've got more pamphlets and some of my other special favorites. This is among them, Understanding the Benefits. It's not what every woman should know, but it's just as good in many respects because it covers a lot of those topics. So if you're a guy, if you're a girl, this is still for you. All right, and one of my other favorites, The Snapshot. I love this pamphlet because it tells you basics. I want you to sharpen your skills, and especially if you get SSI. This program, along with disability, sometimes confuses people, but SSI is needs-based. Just remember, if you're low income and you have a disability, or you are over 65 and you're low income, contact us. SSI might be for you. Once again, I'm Daniel Summers, Public Affairs Specialist, and I'm here for you to sharpen your skills.